In today's session, we're going to draw a cartoon character together that I've been thinking about a little bit and toying around with. So I thought you might have some fun drawing along with me. So grab your pen and pencil and paper and let's get started. So we'll start the session by a quick sketch of what we're going to do. We're going to draw a character based on a cactus. So we're going to draw the cactus basic shape. I'm just sketching here with my pencil just so we can have an idea where he's going to go. And we'll have one of those cactuses that have, or cacti, I'm not sure what the right term is, that has the branches growing out from the side. So we're sketching that in here. I don't know how well you can see this, but we're getting this shape of our body for our little cactus guy here. So we just drew him, and I drew him kind of at an angle because he's an angry cactus. He's so tired of being full of those prickly spines that it's just made him cranky. So he's a cranky cactus. So now we've got that basic shape laid down. Where's his face going to be? Well, let's put it about here. He's going to be kind of cranky, as I said, so we're going to give him a frown right off the bat. Just kind of a angry little dude here. So we give him his eyes there. And we'll flesh all this out with our pens here, but we're going to give him that angry little mouth. He's kind of got his teeth clenched. He's just so frustrated being full of these spines all the time. And then of course we'll end up having to draw some spikes on him. So a little spine since he's a cactus. So I'm going to draw some real light lines that will help me make him look more cactus-like when we start fleshing out his shapes and so on. Alright, I think that's a good sketch here. Let's see what we look like. Alright, so we've got a very basic sketch. And let's grab a pen now. And we'll start fleshing him out a bit. So we'll do our outline here. Getting that arm on that side, and we're going to bring this around the top. This line's going to go all the way down. I'm just going to pause there for a moment till we get his face in place. Face in place? Is that some kind of new thing? I'm not sure. Like that. We'll ink in there on the sides of his teeth. Make them really stand out. Just make a nice little line there for his teeth. Now let's give him some eyes here, or some pupils. Kind of like that. And we got to get his other arm in here. I think that looks pretty good for our basics. Now we just got to bring him to life as a cactus. So we're going to make a nice gentle line here. It doesn't even have to be a solid line. We're going to kind of go right down the middle of his face. And another one here. Just spacing these out a bit. This is where our spines of the cactus will go. And now we have to have a couple of those lines here. Just very simple lines. We haven't drawn anything complex here. We're just putting it together as a shape, as a fun character. Maybe one kind of back along here. Something like that. So now what we want to imagine here, if you've seen different types of cactus, of course, is that these are where the spines are, and that is higher. It's almost like this is a little valley that curves down. So we can add some shading to that here in a moment with our pencils if we'd like, or we could do it with ink, but it might just be more fun to try it with pencil too today. So let's actually do that first. Let's take a nice pencil here. Just add some graphite here down the center where we drew those other lines. I'm just sort of lightly making little scribbles as I go down because we're going to blend this. That's kind of the dark spot, if you will. And we'll do the same thing here between our other lines. You can leave some space there around his face. We'll shade that a little bit differently. And then between the lines we created on his arms as well. What we're doing here by laying this graphite down, we're creating the low point in the shape of our cactus so that it's, when we blend it, those spots where we made that dark line, those are going to become the high points. And it may seem counterintuitive, but we'll see here how this looks. So now we're going to just blend this outward toward those inked lines. And leave just a tiny little bit of white where those black lines are that we made. Just blending this. We could have just done this without a blending. We could have just very carefully shaded our character darker and then lighter with our pencil. And sometimes that's kind of fun to do actually. But it does take a bit longer. It requires a little more practice and skill. So just thought I would do it a nice easy way here and give us our cartoon character in a rather quick way, but it should be fun. So we're just blending all this out as though that's the valley, so to speak, the deepest part of these little shapes. And we didn't have to make it dramatically darker because it's not like that thing's a mile deep or something like the Grand Canyon, but it is a shape that we've got that we want to deal with. Well, now we'll go back to our pen and let's create little marks every so often along these lines. Like little dots or little concaved, if you do like a little curved line like that, that's fine too. You can even vary it up, just give it some variety. What we're just doing is creating the source or the spot on the cactus where those spines are going to stick out. All along that little guy. And we might even have some on this outside edge too, along here where we made that other little line. So we're already just creating the look for the spines here. So we'll start over on the arm as well. Not trying to create any kind of a perfect pattern or anything like that. Just a spot to indicate that there's something there, and it will help with the effect of our little cactus guy here too. So alright, so now we've got those little spots. We're going to go back to those. We're going to just add little flicks. I'm going to zoom in here for you. All we want to do here is add the spines to our character. He is a prickly character after all. You don't become a cranky cactus without having lots of spines poking out. I would say 2 or 3 of these little flicks on each of those points that we made, so they don't have, 100 of those spines poking out of each area. Oops, I got off my camera there. I'll try to do better here. Okay, let's do his arm here too. Alright, he's coming along. Let's zoom out a little bit here again. I keep going off camera. I apologize. Okay, he looks pretty good. We could maybe add just a few along the outer side here, just a little bit smaller because they're kind of going around to the other side so we're not seeing him quite as well. And now let's add a little more darkness here. Let's add some roundings around his eyes here. Kind of thicken those furrows a little bit. Make him look a little bit more cranky. And then we'll add just the tiniest little bit of reflective light indicators there. Alright, now we can add, if your tortillon or paper stump is still there and it's probably got a little bit of graphite still on it, we can add just a little bit of shading to his eye on that outer edge. Might need the tiniest bit of graphite here, so I'm going to add a little bit around, and then on the center there on his teeth and on the outer edge, and maybe out where those cactus lips are. I don't know if you've ever seen a cactus with lips. I have not. So this is just my sense of what they might look like. In fact, let's add a little bit of a curve here around his mouth just to accentuate what's going on. We'll add a tiny bit of graphite there. Actually, I'll use my other pencil rather, just to get some more shadow there. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit underneath his eyes, just to help give more shape to that. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. And now let's also add just a little bit of background color, so to speak, by adding some lines there behind him on this one side, just kind of help him stand out from the page a little bit. So we'll kind of go up here. Just bring these lines across this side. We'll separate him a little bit from the page, from the background, but it also kind of gives a sense of energy or anger to this little guy. And since he is cranky, that might work just perfect. Might be just what we needed. Just kind of like that. And then let's add a little bit of a shadow. We'll blend with our, not that he's casting a shadow, this is more of an artistic choice to bring him out from that background even further. To separate him a bit. So by adding a little bit of graphite along this edge here, once we blend it here in a moment, it'll help those lines be accentuated, like we drew, we did with the pen there. Just going to add some cartoony comic book sense to him, a sense of movement or energy. Well, there we have it. A very simple cartoon character. I'm calling him Cranky Cactus. And I think we had a pretty good time drawing this character. At least I did. I hope you did too. But that's it for today's session. Thank you so very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing everyone very soon again here in the Tangles and Tunes channel. Until then, take care. Bye-bye now.